Welcome to Real McCoy TV, where faith intertwines with daily life, empowering us to inspire positive change. Our mission is not just to share our story, but to uplift our community and celebrate authentic tales of faith and family. Journey with us and witness Cleveland's vibrant sports scene alongside heartwarming church events and cherished family moments, all showcasing our shared values. New content graces your screens every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday evenings, making it easy to engage with us on this enlightening adventure. We invite you to be part of the Real McCoy experience. Whether you wish to call in, join discussions, or collaborate, your voice matters. Plus, support our mission through Cash App, GoFundMe, or Patreon. Together, we create a thriving community of faith and support where every contribution counts.
Good morning. Yeah, man, the Cavs won. We beat the Raptors yesterday. Nail biter, if you will, until the end, until Mobley and them turned up. A lot of people in the media spaces giving Schröder the credit to the win. Can't get Schröder the credit without looking at Mitchell and saying, why do we need extra help from Schröder because if Mitchell is gone. But we're not getting into that. We about to check into Locked On Raptors because I'm very interested to hear what they think, what they feel after this. If you ask me, I ain't like how close the game was, knowing that Brandon Ingram went in the game for a long amount of time, but we're not going to trip over that too much. We're going to get into this Locked On Raptors. It's about 18 minutes. I got to sped up. Maybe we can get it to like 12, but we're going to listen to it. I'm going to interject. Appreciate everybody for tapping in, tuning in. Definitely repost this, reshare this, all that. Let's get it.
This is the Raptors Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Toronto Raptors. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Raptors Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network covering your team every day. And we're coming to you live after the Toronto Raptors 125-120 Game 5 loss against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs protect home court and take a very pivotal game. So we're going to talk about it on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and the Locked On Podcast feed. I'm Sophie Shea, credentialed journalist covering the Raptors and the NBA for over 2 years now with outlets like Sportsnet and Raptors Republic. And now I'm going to be humble host of the Raptors Postcast, breaking down each and every game with you. And unfortunately, not with me is Dwayne Notice, aka Dino. Our professional basketball player and analyst is currently competing in the finals of his Canadian Basketball League season. So we are wishing him the best of luck and hopefully get some good news from him next time when he's on here to talk. But for tonight's show, we're going to talk about how the Raptors' valiant effort came up short in heartbreaking fashion, break down what to make of losing Brandon Ingram for this game, get some thoughts in a segment we like to call Take Notice, and then we'll wrap things up by handing out our player of the game. But as always, we're going to start with our initial impression from tonight.
This is what you'll be talking about.
I think it's fair to describe this game as a heartbreaker for the Raptors because, by golly, were they in it until the very end. They gave themselves such a great chance. And look, it is the playoffs. I think if you asked Darko Jakovic and his team, they wouldn't be looking for moral victories at this point. They don't necessarily matter at this point of the season, especially now with their season on the brink of elimination. But considering the circumstances, with the fact that you lose Brandon Ingram in this game.
Yeah, but if you is the Raptors, you thinking, look, we solidify what we doing. We really give our best game. And then we just take it to game 7 and see what happened. You got to be thinking that if you're a Raptor.
Heel inflammation. It's an injury he's dealt with before in the season, so we'll have to wait and see what his status is. So no BI. Emmanuel quickly was already not playing in this game. He's not playing for the rest of the series. Then Scotty Barnes gets hurt, and he plays through it. He looks banged up for pretty much the entirety of the second half. You're doing this on the road as well, which obviously is harder for teams in the playoffs, but the fact that the Raptors have yet to beat the Cavs on the road in the playoffs ever, they're not 0-10 after this. And then you have the Cavaliers hitting pretty much everything like they were in game 1 and 2 of the series. James Harden, 23 points, 7 of 13. Donovan Mitchell, 19 points, 7 of 17. Not the most uber efficient, but really timely and loud shots for them. Evan Mobley bounced back after his 2 rough games in Toronto. He has 23 points, 8 of 13 for him, and again, some timely buckets. Considering those circumstances, again, the Raptors gave themselves a chance by accomplishing so much of what they wanted to do identity-wise. They forced 15 turnovers for 28 points. Talk about converting on the mistakes from Cleveland. They take care of business there.
It did convert 15 turnovers. It did look super sloppy at times. I was not happy, but I'm glad we got the dub.
In transition, 24-6 on the fast break. They gave up something like 11 second chance points early on to the Cavs in the first half, where they were just kind of getting beat on the glass. The Raptors end up giving up 0 second chance points the rest of the game, and they kind of take over that category, winning at 13-11. So they were doing a lot of what you kind of needed them to do. Scotty Barnes, especially early, was kind of orchestrating everything. Those assists to Jakob Poeltl, who we'll talk about, who had a pretty good bounce back game for himself. Scotty Barnes finishes with.
Yo, I don't like to highlight the other team, but we do need to start looking at Scotty Barnes like he like a baby Bron. He definitely not the full LeBron, but 70% of LeBron will win you a lot of games. If you ask me,
25 points, 9 of 19. He gets the line for 9 free throws as well. Hits 5 of them, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. RJ Barrett was doing RJ Barrett thing, just constantly bullying his way into the paint, especially in that third quarter where he had 9 points. Very instrumental in the Raptors trying to keep ahead in this game. He finishes with where was it here? Sorry, with 25 points. Sorry, Scotty Barnes had 17 points. RJ Barrett had a game high 25. Scotty with 17 on 6 of 16, 11 assists. RJ Barrett had the 12 rebounds. So they're both kind of doing their thing. A really nice bounce back game for Jacoby Walter, who had 20 points. He had that really big third quarter with 11 points, hitting 3 threes and helping the Raptors stay ahead. But like ultimately what this game came down to was the fourth quarter. The Raptors ran out of gas. They were up 3 heading into the fourth quarter where again they gave themselves a chance. And they got outscored 25-17, which is truly unfortunate considering the fact that the Raptors were the best fourth quarter scoring team in the NBA throughout the first couple games of the playoffs. But they just weren't able to hit shots. They went through spurts where they weren't able to get baskets to go. In the third quarter, you saw it a little bit where they had 2 different spurts of like I want to say 2 to 3 minutes where they weren't able to score. But in the fourth quarter, they started the first 4 minutes of the quarter without scoring a basket. Just nothing was coming easy for them. They gave up an 8-0 run. They ended up shooting 7 of 28 in the quarter, 2 of 12 from deep. And a cherry on top of all of it was Dennis Schröder, of all people, was carving up the Raptors. The former Raptor scored 11 of his 19 points in the fourth quarter. And it was just this encapsulation of the fact that the Raptors just kind of ran out of counter punches. Constantly after the Cavs were kind of making their moves and kind of making their run, the Raptors would have a response. Again, especially in the third quarter, you had RJ Barrett and Jamal Sheck kind of leading that charge, but they just didn't have it in the fourth. And that's a testament to the fact that they were missing Brandon Ingram. I think it was to speak to the fact that Scotty kind of ran out of juice as well. The shots stopped falling for Jacoby. At a certain point, RJ Barrett can drive his way into the paint only so many times before the Cavs can just collapse on it and kind of stop the positive momentum you gain out of that. So the Raptors, truthfully, kind of just ran out of answers late. And it was unfortunate because, again, this is a heartbreaker. The Raptors gave themselves a very real chance to win this game, but ultimately, they just didn't have enough left in the tank for it. And them's the...
If you ask me, the best bet for the Raptors is to lean on Barrett and let him just do whatever he can, because Scotty Barnes is laboring. Scotty Barnes got to go into a number 2 role because he can't do it right now.
He didn't kind of execute how they wanted to down the stretch. I think that was a big part of it too. The Cavs offense kind of took it away from them. And it's something where the Raptors have no choice but to respond now because obviously their season is on the line. But something I wanted to make sure I touched on as well was obviously losing Brandon Ingram this game and what that meant for what the Raptors were doing.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Yeah, look, the Raptors were able to, on the box score, accomplish a lot without Brandon Ingram in this game when he left in the second quarter. They actually won the second quarter 40-29. Again, a big part of that was the fact that Jacoby Walter went a little nuclear there. He ends up, again, with 11 points of his 20 in the second quarter. But I just felt like this moment showed how much harder things look without Brandon Ingram on the floor, especially with Scotty Barnes hobbled. Like, B.I. has not had a good series. Entering this game, he was averaging 14 points on like 34% shooting. I think we all know that. But his gravity is vital for what this team is looking to accomplish offensively. His spacing, like I've talked about it before, his interior gravity in terms of how much teams pay attention to him is among the highest in the league, especially throughout the regular season. And the Cavaliers obviously pay a ton of attention to him in terms of what they want to accomplish defensively. And without him, you saw the Raptors kind of get stymied. They end up committing 15 turnovers of their own. They don't give up as many points off of it, but the windows for passes, the driving lanes, all they kind of got mucked up, especially towards the end of this game. And say what you want about Brandon Ingram's offense not necessarily being consistent in the series. You saw it in game 4 where it came out in like a very timely point. He had those big threes in the third quarter of that game that kind of sparked a 10-0 run in the third quarter. The fourth quarter, he hits it really timely above the big triple off of Colin Murray Boyle's offensive rebound. So I think just not having him out there to kind of buoy you and like kind of lift your team up in those moments was rough. And the Raptors kind of suffered because of it. It's going to be interesting to see what they kind of are able to accomplish without Brandon Ingram if he's out for an extended period. Hopefully he's not. It was just something where they were being precautionary with it. But the Raptors, just honestly, without him on the floor, you could just see the spacing kind of collapse on them. You did get some of it kind of like alleviated with, again, like Jacoby Walter hits 6 of 14 threes. Jamal Sheck, kind of like he did in the first game, in game 1 against the Cavs, was kind of making the Cavaliers pay for going under on screens. He hit a couple of big threes, especially in the fourth quarter. He goes 4 of 10 from downtown as well. So you're getting some secondary shot making, but it's not taking the attention of the Cavaliers defense the same way as Brandon Ingram was that opened up those driving lanes. Against Scotty Barnes, he finishes with 17 points, but 6 of 16, he's really not getting those openings he got in games 3 and 4. He didn't get to the line nearly as much in this game as well. Truthfully, I do feel like the Cavaliers got a bit of a favorable whistle at times in this, but ultimately it did even out, so I'm not going to use that as an excuse. But it's going to be interesting to see what the Raptors are going to have to figure out if BI can't go. But I do feel like, truthfully, even though the box score says they were able to manage 5 without Brandon Ingram, their jobs were just harder throughout the night. And I think that's a big reason why the Raptors ultimately did run out of gas in this game. And it's something they're going to have to manage if he's not able to go. But there were some positive performances. Again, you had Jacoby Walter, Jamal Sheck, and Jakob Poeltl, who I did want to touch on. So we're going to talk about Jakob. Hopefully,
they letting Jamal Sheck do. James Harden letting Jamal Sheck do way too much, man. Jamal Sheck doing way too much with, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't like it. Shed is balling. He getting paid. He getting paid off
as
the
we
series.
continue this episode of the Raptors Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Kalshi. On Kalshi, you can trade every single playoff game, every series, the conference finals, and the championships. The playoffs are here, and it's the most electric time in basketball. For instance, the Cavaliers were trading at an 80% chance to win this series before Game 5. If I had to guess, those numbers look kind of different tonight in favor of the Cavaliers, obviously. And that's what I like about Kalshi. As the playoffs heat up, those numbers move in real time, and you can buy in or out at any time. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. And for a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code LOCKEDON, LOCKED, to get $10 when you trade 10. That's KALSHI. Kalshi, trade on anything. And remember, it's 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. But for more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. All right, as we continue this episode of the Raptors Podcast, be sure to check out Sean Woodley with Locked On Raptors in the morning to get more in-depth analysis of the Raptors' 125-120 loss. And I just want to touch on this too, because we do have people mentioning the fact that the Raptors defense wasn't necessarily up to snuff. I do think that did play a part in it. Obviously, you give up 125 points. Again, this felt very reminiscent of games 1 and 2 of the series, specifically game 1 where the Raptors gave up 126 points, which I believe was the most of any team to give up in the game 1 of the playoffs. Again, I just think it's a part of like the Raptors kind of running out of gas and trying different things. Without BI out there, Darko, who had done a good job in the series, was trying to put other guys in. You had more Jamison Battle run. You had more AJ Lawson run. And truthfully, both those guys do give up stuff defensively. There's a really weird spurt in this game where CMB and Jakob Poeltl were both off the floor, which I'm not entirely sure was the best thing for the Raptors, and I think that played a part in it. But when you don't have BI kind of... He's not the linchpin of your defense, but...
That's where the Raptors lost the game. They didn't have that rookie out there. That rookie been giving Scotty Barnes the extra juice he need the whole time. That's been his Robin. Barrett been doing work, but they've been needing CMB, man.
Had made strides defensively. His like one notable play in this game before he got hurt was the first stop of this game where he rotates over from the weak side and deflects an entry from cutting Evan Mobley, and he kind of gets a stop there. So he does play a part in this defense, and not having him on the back end means that you have to move other guys over and around, and it kind of leaves you in a vulnerable position. Again, by no means am I saying Jakob Poeltl is your linchpin, but puts more onus on Scotty Barnes, who's obviously doing everything already, and him being hindered or hurt, I do think obviously plays a part of the defense.
Jakob Poeltl was balling early in this game. I was like, oh man, how did they unlock him? He seemed like he had extra energy. Jared Allen did look hobbled. Very, very grateful for the game that Jared Allen put out there today. He balled hard.
MD has to kind of cover more space as well, and you can only have so much of a rookie. But considering all that, the Raptors still gave themselves a good chance, and that was because their offense was in it until the fourth quarter, and that's because of guys like Jacoby Walter, Jamal Shed. But Jakob Poeltl was the big one for me. And I think a big thing that I thought Jakob Poeltl was really showing in this game was there was activity on his movement. One of his best contests in this game was he had this nice cat and mouse deflection where Jamal Shed was stuck on Evan Mobley. He kind of stunted forward on Evan to force that overhead pass or bait him into it, and then he tracked back and deflected it out of bounds. There was a lot of like heads up play from him, and then offensively, the Raptors simplified what they were asking Jakob Poeltl. It was kind of just garbage man stuff, screening, getting into the dunker spot, but he was more willing to be a participant in it. We saw his push shot for like the first time in forever this series. He ends up finishing with a modest 14 points, but he does it on 5 of 6 shooting. He has 9 rebounds as well. Obviously, his role on the glass is important. The Raptors end up winning that category after getting kind of dominated in that category early. So the Raptors were in this game because Jakob Poeltl was able to make an imprint in it. We talked about how the Cavaliers big didn't really show up in game 3 and 4, but they had a bounce back performance tonight. At least Evan Mobley did. Jared Allen was a bit more passive in a sense, but he still kind of left his impact here. And Jakob Poeltl meeting the moment against those guys, I think, did make a difference. Now we're going to hopefully see if he can continue to do that while CMB also makes the impact that he does. And we'll see what it's like when the Raptors return to Toronto for game 6. That'll be important. But look, this is the type of Jakob Poeltl that you want to continue seeing. Darko Jakovic clearly trusts him to be out there in an important spot. For him to play 20 minutes in this game, make a difference, I think was important in terms of them keeping in it till the very end. But we'll have to see what it's like in game 6, like I said. But for now, we're going to move on to handing out our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
We'll see who we got for player of the game, man. My player of the game is Evan Mobley.
The game, he was just fighting tooth and nail till the end. Again, his drives did kind of lose momentum by the end of this game because the Raptors didn't really have any other way of generating quality offense. But that third quarter where he had 9 points, he really did lead the charge to have the Raptors stay ahead going into the fourth quarter. His shot making was as valuable as ever. He ends up going 2 of 5 from deep, which isn't the greatest, but he had timely threes. He gets to the line as well. 12 rebounds, obviously, is super important. And then in the fourth quarter, he was giving it every single last bit of effort he had. And that's all you can ask from RJ Barrett. He was a guy that maybe we weren't sure if he was going to be consistent throughout the series, especially as a tertiary scorer, and that's exactly what he's been. He's been the most consistent this entire series. Maybe the Raptors' most consistent scorer. Scottie Barnes has had the highest peaks. He's been the best player in this series, but RJ Barrett, through the start on the road and at home, has been there along his side, and he was there again tonight. 25 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. So shout out RJ Barrett. He was kind of taking care of things for you in this game where you needed it most, especially with Scottie Barnes being hobbled. But I think the big thing for him was just how much force he generates. He was folding Evan Mobley in this game, quite frankly, at times on his drives, which you don't necessarily see yourself saying against a defensive player of the year, especially of his caliber. CMB maybe was the only other guy doing it for much of the series, and then RJ Barrett is doing it too, so that's super impressive because obviously he's not the same size and stature of Colin Murray Boyles. And then he has just been figuring it out on defense as well. RJ Barrett's still not the most consistent defender, especially on screen navigation stuff. But when he's on isolation possessions, he is kind of doing his best here. There's a really key play in the fourth quarter where he got switched onto Donovan Mitchell. And he kind of like, I think they have schemes and plans that they already know if they're going to switch or not. But the way he almost just was inviting it and then took the drive from Donovan Mitchell in the chest, kind of redirected it and forced a tough kind of like floater push shot for a miss. I think it speaks to RJ Barrett's growth as a defender in this series. He has been a willing participant on that end. And then again, offensively, he has kind of kept you afloat in so many instances. Unfortunately, the Raptors do ultimately run out of gas because they're not able to get much from him or Scottie Barnes late. But I think that can be said for everyone. The team as a whole just didn't have any energy left by that point because of what they were asked to do under very tough circumstances to that point. But I'll give RJ Barrett the player of the game for that reason. And look, the Raptors are in tough. I'd be lying if I said otherwise. Game 5 in a 2-2 series is undeniably very, very important. The team that wins Game 5 in a 2-2 series has won the series 83% of the time. But in the same breath, I joked about this after Game 1, that a series doesn't start until a road team wins. Well, a road team still hasn't won in this series. Both teams have protected home court. I've heard other people say this, where they have this confidence in the Raptors being able to protect home court in Game 6 and force a Game 7. We'll have to see. I do think the role of Ben Ingram will play a factor in it. We'll hopefully get some bounce-back performances from Scottie if he's able to get healthy and rest a little bit. RJ Barrett will continue to do his thing. We need to see if the shooting of Jacoby Walter can translate. He didn't hit a 3, I believe, or he only hit a couple at home in Toronto during the series. Jamal Shead obviously didn't shoot as well as he has in Cleveland in Game 3 and 4 in Toronto, so we'll see if their shooting can continue. I think Mamu's been a bit up and down, but he was pretty consistent in this game. He gives you 10 points off the bench as well. So you hope to see your bench players contribute more at home as they tend to do, but in the series it's been pretty up and down. So we'll have to see. Overall, the Raptors do have some tinkering and adjustments to make. The Cavaliers got bounce back performances from their star guys. Now it's the Raptors' turn. That's what the playoffs is, and we'll have to wait and see. But again, they are going to be in tough. The odds are against them, but if they've showed us anything before and they show us in this game, they're going to continue to fight till the bitter end. And now it's their job to protect home court along the way. But for now, that does it for us. For myself, Sophie Shake, thank you to everyone who tuned in live, and for those listening the morning after. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to Locked On Raptors on all platforms. Don't forget to comment below if you have any other thoughts. We'll be back on Friday live after Game 6 between the Raptors and Cavaliers in Toronto, where the Raptors will be fighting for their lives and their season. So we'll see you then, breaking it all down on the Raptors postcast. Peace.
Well, there it is. I think the Cavs gonna win. That's all I got. What y'all think? Put what y'all think down in the chat. Hit the comments up. Share this. Repost this. Appreciate everybody that tuned in. They sound scared to me. I was just digesting. Like, what do I think? And I think they main analysts sound scared.
Welcome to Real McCoy TV, where faith intertwines with daily life, empowering us to inspire positive change. Our mission is not just to share our story, but to uplift our community and celebrate authentic tales of faith and family. Journey with us and witness Cleveland's vibrant sports scene alongside heartwarming church events and cherished family moments, all showcasing our shared values. New content graces your screens every Tuesday, Wednesday.